Hello, this is Cho of the Shiny Colors Discord, and welcome to another episode of the Shiny Review. Today we're going to be talking about 3 cards on the new permanent banner. Well, 2 cards on the permanent banner, and then our event card. So we have P-SSR2 Mei, the newest SR Mano, as well as the new P-SR Mamimi. Starting things off with Mei. As if to follow up all the previous Mei cards, Mei 2 evokes heavy Black Lagoon energy with her latest card. In terms of this Mei's playstyle, she's very reminiscent of Asahi 1, but with a bit more consistency in her initial attack. She's definitely an improvement, but leads to a smaller issue in current play. Because Asahi 1 needs backup from Mei and Fuyuko 1 currently to set up her damage, sacrificing that setup for a second nuke can end up hurting your overall damage by weakening both cards unintentionally. This card will definitely get stronger if we see more Stray Light cards that can support, but for now it feels slightly risky. Her roles are nuker, buffer, as well as center. Mei's initial skill is a Dance 2.5 that follows up with a scaling Dance 0.7 to 3.5 appeal. This scales based on how many active dance buffs you have on you, with a maximum of 4 dance buffs required to hit that 3.5. This skill then links into a Vocal Visual 50% buff for 2 turns, and a Vocal Visual 20% buff for 5 turns. At max, you gain a Vocal 3.0 appeal that has a scaling Vocal 1 to 5.0 appeal based on how many Vocal active buffs you have. So again, if you have 4 Vocal active buffs on, this will do the maximum 5.0 along with the 3.0. This then links into a Dance Visual 50% buff for 2 turns, and a Dance Visual 20% buff for 5 turns. For other abilities, at 1 star she gains a Vocal Dance 25% up if it is turn 5 or earlier. This has a 20% chance to activate twice. At 2 stars she gets a Vocal Dance 45% up as long as it's turn 4 or later, 20% chance to activate twice. Her 3-star uncap is a combined Vocal Dance 100 uncap, and she also gains an additional Vocal 100 uncap at 4 star. When maxed out, her memory appeal is a Vocal 80% buff for 2 turns and a Vocal 20% buff for 5 turns, and links into a Vocal 2.0 appeal. For recommended supports, first, I gotta say, shoutouts to the Shiny Colors official stream for suggesting cards during the Mei reveal. Makes this part a little simpler, and makes it feel like what I'm doing is worthwhile. Fuyuko and Asahi have immediate synergy for this Mei, and the Illumination Stars trio will always do good work, especially Hiyori in this case. The rest can be filled as you desire, but remember to get a 4-star appeal if your Mei isn't maxed. So some other cards you might consider are any of the buffing SRs similar to Juri, or buffing cards like the initial Fuyuko or the Asahi. With recommended teammates, there's not really much else to say with Mei 2. You have 2 options of running her as a pure vocal team or a mixed Stray Light team with Fuyuko 1 at the helm. Make sure to stack up all your active buffs as much as possible for the best damage. So the real main change is that Fuyuko 1 becomes the center on the mixed Stray Light, whereas Mei 2 is the center on the vocal variation. And you will also need to change up Fuyuko's skills in order to better optimize for a vocal-centric team. Overall, Mei gets a B+ across the board. This card probably won't hit as hard as you'd like ideally as a center, but she can still do fine enough if you want to run Stray Light in Vocal Fests. The big vocal buffs are the real positive of it, though I wish they lasted longer for Stray Light's case. Maybe they were worried that Mei would start being a weird off-brand vocal leader? Who knows? And then ultimately, this card only has one goal: hit the judge really hard. The problem is that the amount of setup you need to achieve the best level of damage requires such an absurd setup and ideal rotation that it becomes more of a chore to attempt every single run, especially when you consider a lot of the other nuker cards that we've reviewed before that are much more consistent because they have a much less strict requirement in order to do their max damage. Stray Light really needs someone to consistently set them up, and they'd be set for life. Next we have our support SR, Mano. It's been a real long time since we've gotten an SR card for Mano. That being said, this card actually has some real merit for true end hunters. She's another way to gain Audition Mastery SP. She's the vocal equivalent to the Princess Hiyori SR, which now makes me believe we'll be seeing a visual version with Meguru in the not-too-distant future. Potentially a new trio to always run for Wing and True End over the limited Illumination Stars for TFD. But that of course all depends on what happens with an SR Meguru card. Her skills are Idol's Bond, which reaches rank 7 at level 70, Audition Mastery SP, which reaches rank 9 at level 60. She also has access to Promise Recovery, Rest Boost, as well as Trouble Guard. And remember, with Audition Mastery, the scale is 1-to-1, so as long as you get first place in an audition in Wing, you will earn an additional 9 SP. You can combine this mastery along with Princess Hiyori to earn 18 SP per audition win in Wing. And her TFD idea, if you choose to use her there, is Appeal. For the rest of Mano's kit, at 1 star she unlocks a vocal 15% up if you are in the vocal position, has a 30% chance to activate once. For 2 stars, vocal 25% up if there's 1 judge left, 30% chance to activate once. Her uncap at 3 star is a vocal 50, and her 4 star appeal is a fast vocal 2.0 that reduces the judge's influence by 20% for 2 turns. Remember that fast appeals will always go first in the turn, regardless of the situation, and judge influence is an attack down on the judges. Mano gets somewhere between a C and an A- depending on where you use her. Mano is a perfectly okay support SR who will be useful for players aspiring for true ends. Pairing this card up with Princess Hiyori, though her title is here if you'd like to search her up, will lead to extremely profitable auditions as long as you can maintain first place in each one. This Mano also has the benefit of being very useful for Vocal Collabofest, as influence down can be a godsend. Niche for the appeal and the passives, but great for Wing and Collabofest, which results in her strange scoring. She's definitely a card to look out for if you are a newer player looking to find some strengths in Wing. Lastly, we have Mamimi. In the Kiriko 4 video, I talked about how that card could become more relevant as she started receiving more support. Well, now our event Mamimi has come along to be somewhat supporting to the cause. Mamimi is a card that plays around defensive teams, but isn't particularly defensive herself, and this is okay. The biggest gain from this Mamimi is a consistent attacker for teams that really play around reducing a judge's interest. While Mamimi does not have the benefit of also reducing interest when she attacks, she will be a very strong turn 5 option for Vocal Antika if they play around Kiriko 4's strengths. She's very, very niche at the moment, but could become something great. Her main role is solely for piercing damage. Mamimi's abilities. Her initial skill is a Dance 2.0 that ignores the judge's interest, which links into an additional Dance 2.0 that ignores the judge's interest. At max, this becomes a Vocal 2.5 and links into another Vocal 2.5, both ignoring the judge's interest. As for the rest of her abilities, at 1 star she gains a Dance 12% up as long as your mental is 75% or lower, 40% chance to activate once. Her 2-star passive is a Vocal 24% up if the turn count is 3 or less, 40% chance to activate once. Her 3-star uncap is a Vocal 50, and her memory appeal at max reduces the judge's interest by 30% for 1 turn, and links into a piercing damage Vocal 2.5. For recommended supports, Mamimi, depending on how you feel about her, can serve a supporting role until it's time for her to attack with her Vocal 5. Appeals from SR Tenka or SR Sakuya, who have interest down to all judges, will be useful utility options as you prepare to attack with Kiriko 4. Otherwise, slap on your best vocal passives and go nuts. Also, honorable mention to the event SR Sakuya, who has a 50% reduction of interest on 1 judge. So if you do not opt to use Tenka or the other Sakuya's appeal, this Sakuya is fine as well. Or you can opt for the SSR Vocal Sakuya for a little more damage if you choose to use Tenka's appeal instead of either Sakuya. For recommended teammates, we only have one today, Vocal Antika. Piggybacking off of the Kiriko 4 review from a little while back, this team sees a slight shift with the introduction of SR Mamimi. The end goal will still be the same, but now you have a secondary attacking option once all the judges are debuffed to hell. So we have Sakuya 3 and or Sakuya 1, the new SR Mamimi, as well as the SSR4 Kiriko, and our backup SR, Kogane, and Yuika. Overall, Mamimi gets a D as a center. For your own sanity, please don't. Even Kiriko 4 wouldn't want this, just let her be the center instead. And as a unit, she gets a C to a C+. But, hear me out on this. C doesn't mean a bad card in this case, just very niche for now. Her passives aren't much to write home about, but her appeals can be strong in the right situations. While a 5.0 doesn't seem too insane, you also have to consider that this will be against heavy interest reduction, meaning big SSR teams will be losing a lot of damage. If we truly enter a tank meta in shiny colors, this card will rise up very fast. For now, she's okay, but only if you have Kiriko 4. And that's the end of the video. Thank you so much as always for watching. If you like what you saw, make sure to hit the subscription button, and share it around to let other people know what it is we're doing here with the channel. Next time we'll be talking about the next big banner, which appears to be a limited, We know that it is a scenario event which is typically tied to a limited banner, and the support card for that event will be Chiyuki, so we might see Amana or Tenka as the next big card. We're also in the process of working on a video for helping players team build a little bit better that doesn't quite cover what we cover here in the Shiny Review, so please look forward to that in the coming weeks. So, I've been Cho, thanks again for watching, and have a wonderful rest of your day.